Ilorin. Once a proud Yoruba frontier town, a loyal outpost of the mighty Oyo Empire. But in the early 1800s, everything changed. Ambition, betrayal, and a powerful religious movement from the north would transform Ilorin forever. This is the story of how the Fulani Jihad took Ilorin, and how the Yoruba and the north began a century of bitter wars. The Yoruba world in the late 18th century was dominated by the Oyo Empire. The Alifin ruled with authority. Armies marched under his command. And at the frontier stood their owner Kokonfo, the empire's supreme war general. In Ilorin, that general was Afonja. Bold, ambitious, restless. He wanted more than loyalty to Oyo. He wanted independence and power. Ilorin was a land of opportunity. It sat on the border between Yoruba towns and the Fulani Emirates. A place of trade and of tension. Afonja dreamed of breaking free from the Alifin. But to do this, he needed allies. And from the north, a new force was rising. In 1804, Usman dan Fodio launched the Great Fulani Jihad. It spread across the Hausa kingdoms, toppling rulers one after another. From Sokoto to Kano, Zaria to Katsina, the caliphate was born. But the jihadists looked further south, toward the rich lands of the Yoruba. One of Dan Fodio's followers, Shehu Alimi, settled in Ilorin. A preacher, a leader, a man whose words carried fire. Soon, he gathered disciples and caught the attention of Afonja. Afonja saw his chance. He invited Shehu Alimi and his Fulani followers to join him. Together, they plotted rebellion. Afonja brought the Yoruba warriors. Alimi brought the Fulani cavalry. And both dreamed of victory. But their dreams were not the same. Afonja wanted a kingdom of his own. The Fulani wanted Ilorin for the caliphate. Defying tradition, Afonja turned his back on the Alifin. He declared Ilorin independent. He opened the gates to slaves, mercenaries, and outcasts. They called themselves the Jomos. Fearless, ruthless, uncontrollable. Oyo was furious. But the empire was weak. It could not strike Afonja down. And so, Ilorin slipped away from Oyo's grasp. At first, Afonja believed he held power. The Fulani were his allies. The Jomos were his soldiers. But slowly, control slipped away. The Fulani grew stronger. The Jomos grew restless. Chaos consumed Ilorin. And then, betrayal. Afonja was overthrown. Cut down by the very Fulani allies he had trusted. Ilorin was no longer Yoruba. It was now an emirate of the Sokoto Caliphate. Across Yoruba land, shock and anger spread. How could Ilorin fall? How could their owner Kokonfo be destroyed by outsiders? From Ilorin, the Fulani launched raids southward, into Ekiti, into Egbomina, even toward Ibadan. The wars had only begun. Elder of Oyo were murmuring. Ilorin was ours. Afonja was our general. How could strangers take our land? Ibadan warriors too replied. Then let us rise. If the Fulani come south, they will meet our swords. Ibadan will not fall. Fulani rider began to chant. Allahu Akbar. Ilorin is for the caliphate. The jihad will not stop until the south bows. The capture of Ilorin reshaped history. A new Ilorin Emirate was born. The Oyo Empire collapsed. Ibadan rose as the Yoruba's new military power. And for decades, the Fulani and Yoruba clashed in bloody wars. Ilorin remains unique to this day. Yoruba in language and culture, but Fulani in political role. The story of Ilorin is more than history. It is a lesson of ambition and betrayal, of alliances and conquest. For the Yoruba, it was the beginning of a century of resistance. For the Fulani, it was proof that their jihad could reach deep into the south. And for Nigeria, it marked the first great clash between North and South. The fall of Ilorin was not just the story of a town. It was the story of a people, a warning to generations, and the opening chapter of wars that would shape a nation. If you want more powerful stories like this, hit the subscribe button. Share this video to help others rediscover Africa's true history. New stories drop every week.